There are 3 big events happening that you should know if you hold crypto. And before we get to Bitcoin, huge news involving the SEC. The SEC will appeal the XRP ruling in the case against Ripple. And just as a reminder, last month, Ripple tweeted this: XRP is not a security. This victory for Ripple is a win for the entire industry and a step towards regulatory clarity in the US, meaning Ripple won versus the SEC. And specifically, last month, a federal judge ruled that while Ripple's direct sales of XRP to institutional investors did violate securities laws, its programmatic sales to retail investors through exchanges did not. Essentially meaning that any OTC deal Ripple did with institutional investors, that's probably a security, but anything on exchanges to average retail investors, that's fine. Thus, Ripple had a win. Well, in a court filing yesterday, the SEC is now on record that they will file an interlocutory appeal of the judge's ruling on Ripple's programmatic sales of XRP, meaning that the SEC is filing an appeal on one part of the ruling, but not the other, meaning the SEC wants all XRP sales to be considered a security. The SEC said it was seeking leave to appeal part of a recent decision while other parts of the SEC's case proceed to trial. The regulator said approval of an interlocutory appeal could prevent the SEC and government from needing 2 trials. So again, they're just appealing half of it. And now what's the timeline you should expect? In its filing, the SEC noted that Ripple will have to respond by August 16th, a week from the letter's filing, and then proposed filing an opening brief laying out the appeal on August 18th, then Ripple would have 2 weeks, then the SEC would have another week. Essentially, what this means for you is this locks XRP holders back again in the vicious circle of litigation. It took 2 years last time for this to make its way through the courts and for the judge to finally say, no, XRP for retail investors, not a security. It looks like that may start again. I will keep you updated the minute I know more. But for Bitcoin and today's latest CPI numbers, this is what's really going to affect the market. So plain and simple, what was the CPI data? Breaking. July CPI inflation data shows US inflation rate rises to 3.2%, below expectations of 3.3%. And core CPI inflation is now 4.7%, below expectations of 4.8%. So even though both cases were technically slightly below expectations, this is the first monthly increase in CPI inflation since July 2022. Meaning, again, inflation is creeping back up, which means the Fed's job just got a lot harder. Now, of course, Bitcoin reacted on this news. Bitcoin fumbles briefly post US CPI inflation, and news like this is generally bad for crypto because this increasing inflation tells the Fed we have to be even more aggressive, meaning that the United States Federal Reserve has time to stay hawkish in light of the annual inflation data that is now hotter than last month's only 3%. Now, the next Fed meeting is September 19th and 20th, with results coming in on the 20th. I would expect them to raise rates, again, based off the latest data. But looking at actually what the market thinks, the CME Watch Tool, currently, the CME Fed Watch Tool shows an 86.5% probability of no hike, and then a mere 13.5% probability of a 25 basis point rate hike. This may change over the next month as more data comes in. I'll be watching, I'll let you know. Epic news for Ethereum, major NFT project Utes to return Polygon's $3 million grant as it ditches Polygon and moves to Ethereum. So just as a reminder, Utes started on Solana. They are again switching blockchain networks only 4 months after bridging the majority of its NFTs from Solana to Polygon. So they announced it in April, and by March 30th, Polygon announced over 11,600 of the total 15,000 Utes NFTs had been bridged. So it looked like Polygon was in the clear. It looked like Utes was loving their experience. Yet, D-Labs, the company behind Utes, also behind DeGods, D-Labs said the move was to unite its Utes community with its DeGods community. We still love Polygon. It's just time to unite the DeGods and Utes communities, said Utes in a statement. And the money will be returned we are returning 100% of the grant provided by Polygon. The funds will be redeployed for NFT ecosystem growth in Polygon to empower builders and creators. Now, Polygon holders were shook by this whole announcement because why would you give up $3 million? Why would somebody want Ethereum over Polygon? And the answer, I guess, is network effect, especially for NFTs. Huge blow to the Polygon NFT ecosystem, but organic NFT demand on Polygon seems non-existent. I support this choice. Feels like a no-brainer, to be honest. Happy for UT holders. BNB Chain also has some Ethereum positive news. BNB Chain to hard fork to improve security and improve compatibility with EVM chains. Specifically, Binance's BNB Chain is set to undergo 2 hard forks in August 2023 to reduce the possibility of a malicious blockchain reorg, as well as increase compatibility with other Ethereum-compatible blockchains. And huge news for Binance DeFi on Binance. PancakeSwap expands to Ethereum Layer 2 Arbitrum 1. As a reminder, PancakeSwap is the second largest decentralized exchange protocol, second to Uniswap, and they have thus continued their multi-chain expansion. Arbitrum 1 will help users with lower gas fees and faster transactions. And if you're wondering how Arbitrum fits in to the ETH ecosystem, as an ETH Layer 2, Arbitrum 1 processes transactions on its network before summarizing them on the main Ethereum blockchain, which helps speed up transactions and reduce fees. So anyway, if you like PancakeSwap, you love this, because Arbitrum 1 is the 6th blockchain that PancakeSwap has expanded to, as it continues to focus on Ethereum scaling networks. Initially built on BNB Chain, PancakeSwap now also supports Ethereum, Aptos, Polygon zkEVM, and zkSync Era. And major litigation update, Digital Currency Group files to dismiss crypto exchange Gemini's fraud claims. So just as a reminder, Gemini is suing Digital Currency Group for fraud, as Gemini lost a lot of their customers' money in their Earn program. The Gemini Earn program was launched in February 2021. It allowed the exchange's retail customers to earn yields up to 7.4%, by lending their crypto assets to Genesis, which is owned by DCG. And then last month, Gemini's July 7th lawsuit claims that DCG and Silbert, their founder, misrepresented the financial health of lending subsidiary Genesis and induced Gemini Earn customers to continue in the lending program, even though DCG and Silbert were aware Genesis had a $1 billion hole in its balance sheet linked to last year's collapse of Three Arrows Capital. So Gemini called DCG a fraud, and then today the news is this. DCG called Gemini's July complaint a continuation of their public relations campaign carried out by the exchange's owners, Cameron and Tyler. So essentially DCG is saying that, hey, Gemini is just doing all of this for publicity, public relations, we're not frauds. But to me, it's going to be very interesting on how all this turns out, because to me, I don't see how Barry Silbert wasn't aware that Genesis lost all this money with 3AC, how they weren't aware of this $1 billion hole. Not that Gemini is the 100% innocent one in all this, but for me, it's now going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. Also, by the way, Edward Snowden is one of the headline speakers at Bitcoin Amsterdamn. Link down below, grab your tickets, use code ALTCOINDAILY for 10% off. Like always, see you tomorrow.